Hi, everyone. Welcome to the podcast. I'm Shelby Jo Long. I'm the host of the Genius Entrepreneur Podcast, where I have the opportunity to hear the stories of how people have transitioned their genius, their passion into a business. So they're living a life of their dreams. And I am really excited to get into this story today to hear more about this transition and to inspire you to think about your expertise in a different way. So, Toni, welcome to the podcast. I'm so glad you're here, and I'm so excited to hear your story. So, welcome.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you for having me. It was lovely meeting you a couple of months ago at the Show Her the Money. I guess it was the wrap up of the 100 city tour
Yeah.
for the film. Actually, I can't believe that film actually went around the world. 400 city tours, and we end up sitting next to each other. So that was really nice meeting you. I'm so excited to be invited to be a part of your show. I love what you're doing.
Well, I'm excited to have you here. Yes, the Show Her the Money is such an incredible show. And then you get to hear all of those stories, and to be with all of those women that want to inspire that change and create that narrative, which I'm excited to hear about more about your business, shaping the narrative. But
Yeah.
we're starting to see some changing of the narrative, particularly with that show. And I think that feeds really well into both of our businesses. So can you tell
Yes.
us about your business, Shaping the Narrative?
Yes. So what I do with shaping narratives, I work with individuals and companies and entrepreneurs in helping them to develop their selves as speakers, as executives who do media. I do media training, speaker development. I work a lot in corporate development. Companies bring me in to help them build their spokesperson benches for to work with their public facing executives with media training. I really have a lot of fun with the work that I do in helping people to prepare themselves to be the face of their companies, to be the voice of their companies, to use their messages to build their brand, to build a narrative around who their brand is and who they want it to be, and share some really positive information and influence and impact about the difference that their business is making.
Yeah, it's so awesome to be able to be in that space where you are the one that's shaping it, but you're also encouraging people to shape their own narrative. I love that. And so much about my business is all about the brand and pulling the pieces together of your story and the transformation to be able to inspire others. And you're in a very similar space. Can you
Absolutely.
what inspired you to get into that? Can you give me a little bit more of your background?
Sure. It's really, it's so funny how there's that Steve Jobs quote about how you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect the dots looking backward. I love that quote because if you look at my life from this standpoint, it looks like I plan to be exactly where I am. And I wish I were that smart. um, However, everything that I've done has actually led me to exactly where I am. I actually studied public relations in college, and my entire professional career was in public relations. I worked in public relations for a chamber of commerce. I worked for a regional theater in marketing in that space. I worked for the federal government for a while. And then I actually launched my own, I worked for a private PR agency, and then I launched my own public relations agency. And I ran that for 10 years very successfully. We were an award-winning agency, mostly representing clients in the hospitality and tourism space, in the luxury space. So for Hyatt, Hilton, Marriott,
Mhm.
Intercontinental, Starwood, all of the luxury, all of the top big box um, brands, we represented the luxury brands, luxury line for those brands. We also represented destinations and shopping plazas and Michelin star restaurants. And I absolutely love that work for as long as I did, which was about 8 years. As you know, running a business is a lot. Um,
Yes.
um, we
And
have
in that space too, that's
I
a
know
lot
it.
to
It
consider.
is. Right, right. It's fun. I mean, on the outside looking in, it looks very glamorous. We're flying people to Fiji. We represented Fiji
Yeah.
Airlines. We're flying people to Fiji and to Cabo, and we represented Orange County to all of these beautiful luxury hotels. And we're having these, 6 and 8 course dinners and all of that. But still a lot of work. Wrangling journalists to come in and very competitive market to bring them in to write about your clients. And I did that for 8 years. And around year 8, I found myself needing and really desperately wanting to do something different, but struggled to give myself permission to do something different because we were an award-winning agency. I had a rock star team of employees. We were in a beautiful creative office space. I had a really impressive roster of clients. I was living the entrepreneurial dream and also living it at a time after having launched the company in 2007, right before the economic crash that lasted, from 2007 to about 2009, early
Mhm.
2010. We soared during that time, ironically. And so to get to that place where I really didn't want to do it anymore, I really sort of beat myself up over that. But I finally gave myself permission to pivot away from that. I really struggled with a crisis of my own self-confidence around that, because it's one thing to say, I don't want to do this anymore because I'm going to do this. It's another thing
Right.
to say, I don't want to do this. I have no clue what I want to do next. And that's where I was. I didn't know what that next thing was. But what I did know was that the work that I was doing wasn't lighting me up anymore, even though we were still very, very good at what we were doing. So I very slowly transitioned out of that work. I ended up writing a book about um, a method that I use to find my confidence again, which is a book called My Hype Book.
Yeah.
And that actually came about because I was at home feeling like, what have I done? I had this successful agency. I now didn't even know how to introduce myself. My husband was watching a documentary about Muhammad Ali, and I was absolutely captivated by his confidence, even though I'm not a boxing fan. And I was trying to understand, how did this man maintain his confidence in the face of defeat? How did he maintain it even when he was stricken with Parkinson's disease? How did he maintain it when the country despised him because he didn't support the Vietnam War? Then a couple of clips later, I see his hype man, his corner man, Boondini Brown, in his face ardently yelling and reminding him of his knockouts and his wins, that he was the greatest and he was the champ. And I thought, if we all had a hype man reminding us of our wins and our best moments in life, that we'd have that kind of confidence as well. So I decided to make myself a hype book, which then
Love that.
became the book that I actually wrote, which is called My Hype Book. And that became the next thing that I started doing, which was touring and speaking a lot about that book and doing a lot of workshops within companies and corporations. That in and of itself led me to a lot of people approaching me about speaking and saying, I see you're speaking and you're leading workshops and you're doing keynotes. I'd like to do that. Can you help me? Well, naturally, with my background in public relations, I knew how to do that because I was doing that in my work. Because if we book you for the Today Show or GMA or any, South by Southwest stage or any industry, conference, we are naturally going to either write your speech, write your talking points, do all of the prep work, do media training. We're going to get you ready for that so that you shine and make the most out of those moments. So naturally, I already knew how to do media training and speaker development. And it just became that next thing that I started doing. and crafting narrative and story and all of that is something that as a PR person, what we do, quite naturally, and it's a part of our trade. So it sort of, all of it led me into this very niche down space of what I do all the time now. And I absolutely, love it. It's what I've done my whole career. I just did a lot of other things along with it. This is only one
Right.
segment of the whole gamut of things. But now I'm just doing this small piece of the pie, and I am finding so much fulfillment in it.
Oh yeah. I totally resonate with that. You're doing the thing that you just love and you can focus on that. And the other thing I think about that too is that often it's often what people have a hard time creating their own narrative and
Oh, for
create
sure.
their own value proposition and even understanding what their own genius or power is. And it's a gift to be able to be the support system in that. So,
Right. It is. It is interesting how hard it can be to see that for yourself. But how quickly, I mean, there is just an innate ability that I know I have, and I'm sure you have it as well, where immediately when somebody is just talking, and it can be in just casual conversation, a lot of times clients don't even realize when we're just talking, or they think we're just talking, we're just having a simple conversation. I'm getting so much great information around
mhm.
story that they can use when they're in conversations with media, when they are talking about their business, when they are on stage doing a keynote, or when they're sitting on a panel. There's so much rich information that can help to carry the message and make the message of the business of what you're doing resonate so much more.
Yeah.
And helping people find that is so much fun for me. And it's also really exciting when I see how much they light up when they realize things that are very normal for them and very everyday for them become that thing that really help people to understand, and that their work and the business of what they're doing make it really translate to the audiences and customers and clients that they're trying to reach.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's a it, in the speaker academy, I work with people to help them put together their stories and make sure they have the full story there. But then I would think in the media, you'd need to work on condensing those things and putting
Hmm.
together the talking points, because I think that's a challenge for people, that to go from the 15-minute, 20-minute keynote to what are you going to say in 3 sentences. And
Right, right.
I mean, I'm also a recovering academic, so that's a challenge for anybody too, is that you have all this information, but distilling it into those memorable points, I think is something that's
Yeah,
it's
there's an art to it. There's
there's an
definitely
art
art
to it
to
for sure.
it.
Yeah.
It is. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Well, what you said something earlier about how you were focusing on the one thing and it was the one thing that brought you that fulfillment. When you decided to make the transition and focus on that one thing or that one area, what what was different about that? And because it's different than the PR world, because the PR world pretty comprehensive, you're looking for all these different opportunities. When you focused on that one thing, can you tell me about the process of that and what that did? I mean, just mentally, because I think a lot of the listeners are thinking, gosh, I have this gift, I have this thing that I want to do, but I don't know what I do with the rest of my time, right? So it's, trying to, how did you create a business around that?
Well, honestly, that wasn't, it wasn't really a hard thing for me to do. Um, I think because running an agency was so all encompassing,
Yeah.
I was burnt out and I was exhausted. And also I think I had gotten to the place, anybody who runs a business, you understand, you get into the business because you're really good at PR. I mean, I was phenomenal at PR, and I'm an ideas person. I was always really good at coming up with very creative ways for getting um, media getting coverage and exposure for our clients. But when you're running the business, you realize you start running the business and you have a whole team of people that get to do the PR stuff.
Yeah.
And it just got to the place where I wasn't doing the PR anymore. I was busy running the business.
Right.
And so to then be able to niche down to this place of just being able to focus on one aspect of what the business was and be hyper focused, that was is so liberating and is so, I mean, I can't remember in my career where I could be so focused, um,
Right.
because I've always had to think of 50 things, that I had to do and 50 things that I have to, check off, my list. Now, the one danger in that is now I take on other, really cool projects, so
Yep.
there's no shortage of, I mean, I don't have, you would think I had a lot of extra time. No, I just fill it with other
No,
really
you
fun,
just have all
creative
these other
projects.
creative things that you're doing that are connected to it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're connected with it. Like the Show Her the Money
Yep.
um project. I'm helping them to craft the book that tells the story of all the people that are helping to fund the film and the investors in that are featured in the film and the funders that are in the film. Again, yet another creative way to help get the voices out there in the world. So
Yeah.
that's, something else that I'm doing. But it is, I think it's one, giving yourself permission to be hyper focused. And then how do you find the way to expand that so that you do feel fulfilled in every way that you can be, but be okay with not having to, have 50,000 things on your list of things to do to feel productive, in your
Right.
day. And I'm, totally preaching to the choir here because I'm still learning to do that. I'm still learning to, oh, don't take on another project just because you have another great idea. I'm still trying to master that. Uh, but it is nice that I can be with the clients, especially the corporate clients that I have now. What I love about them is I'm helping them to build their 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 spokesperson teams. I go in, I work with them specifically on that, and then I walk away, and then I come back and we build on the work that we did previously, and then we build on that work. I'm not even really in with some of the companies, I'm not even writing the talking points. They've already written the talking points. I'm helping them now. How do we marry story to those talking points? How do
Yeah.
we fill those out so that they become not just simply talking points where everybody sounds the same, but we add more color and um, more imagination
Yeah.
and make it more interesting so that the narrative of the company overall is something that really reaches and resonates with a lot of people. It's exciting for me that I get to go in and do that and then walk away. Whereas before I used to be involved in so many other layers. So I am enjoying that aspect of the work, that I'm doing, and that I do have time to take on other projects that are helping still overall the same thing, but I don't have to be as invested as I used to have to be before.
Right. Absolutely. And I think it's a mindset transition, and it's also,
100%.
and which gets back into the confidence and the authenticity and the height. You got to have your height, but so it's a big transition for sure.
It is. It really is.
What would you say to the entrepreneur out there, or the person that's trapped in their agency position, that is ready to, maybe wants to take the next step but doesn't really know what it is, and they need the push off the cliff, if you will? What would you say to that budding entrepreneur about their skills and about taking that step?
Honest, I would say, what's the worst that could happen? What's the worst that could happen? Here's the thing. If the worst that happens is that you take the step and you don't like it out there, then you can either go back or you can build it again. You've done it once. You know how to do it. You'll build it again and you'll build it better because you know so much more than you did the first time that you did
Yeah.
it. I wish that I had given myself permission so much earlier, and also that I did not spend so much time trying to recreate the success, trying to recreate the level of success that I had reached right away at the beginning stages of whatever the new thing that I was doing.
Yeah.
I kept, if I was here when I stepped out of agency life and I'm starting from here, then give myself permission to grow to that place again. Don't beat myself up if or feel like I gotta, to get to that place again in order to feel a sense of success again. Be okay to start again. Be okay to ask questions again and not have all the answers. Be okay to learn again and open yourself to be vulnerable, to be one that's starting over, but realizing you really aren't starting over because you got so much wisdom. What my hype book helped me do was after when I created the first one, when I was, at home, and I watched that documentary and I said, I need to make myself a hype book. I literally sat in my living room floor for 2 days, journaling in great detail about my accomplishments, my wins, my attributes, those things that made me feel really, really proud. And the reason why it helped me and why there was this ascension of confidence that rose up in me as a result of it was because I was now looking at myself through my success lens as opposed to beating myself up because I had walked away from this successful agency. Um, what it made me also realize was, wow, I have all of this to build on. This is an incredible jumping off point. And that was really, really, really exciting because I'm like, I'm not starting from the bottom. I'm actually starting sort of from a very high point on the mountain. And wherever I jump from here, I'm going to land somewhere pretty great. And that perspective really helped me because I've got years and years of knowledge and wisdom that I can um, use to whatever it is that I'm doing next. So I say, give yourself permission to make that leap and then realize you're making that leap with so much more knowledge and experience than you had when you started before. So you are going to move faster, move further faster than you actually realize. But be kind to yourself in the process.
It's hard for people to do.
It is hard. It
Hard for
is
people to
hard.
take that leap.
It,
But maybe they should read the hype book and get some confidence.
I know. I know. I
Toni,
know.
where can our listeners find you?
My Instagram is Toni Purry, and you can find my hype book at myhypebook.com. We are in the process of rebuilding my brand. Actually, my site will be tonipurry.com. That should be up at the top of the year, which I'm excited about that. But you can always reach me. Also LinkedIn at Toni Purry. Always open to meeting and connecting with new people
Yeah.
via social media.
Great. What is 2025 going to bring you?
Oh my goodness. I'm expanding the work that I'm doing with several of my clients, which is really exciting. I love when I get to continue the work that I've started with them. I created a framework a few years ago called Know Your Narrative. And it really is just sort of honing in on your story and using that as sort of a foundation for creating story around your business, your work, for media training, for speaker development, and all of that. I love that I get to expand on that with the corporate clients that I have. So that's really exciting, for me. certainly more speaking as well. And then I've got something really exciting that am launching in January, which I've got the cohort is actually just about full now, but it's called Ready for TED, and it is a speaker development program to help people who want to do TED Talks. I
Yeah,
did one last year, which was really exciting. And I've helped a number of people prepare for TED Talks and get on TED Talk stages. I think those are really great for building your thought leadership,
ab-
for qualifying your expertise, and for using it as leverage to, you know, uh, to build your thought leadership. Um, and so I love helping people to do that. And my program is called Ready for TED, and it's really, really exciting. So that's something that I'm rolling out in 2025, starting in January. And it's an 8-week intensive, and it's fantastic. I'm so excited about that.
you have lots of exciting things coming up.
I do. I do. I feel good about it. I'm excited about the new year. I'm one of those people that always gets really excited about a new year. This one is no different. I can't wait, and I'm looking forward to it. Just a lot of productivity.
Well, that's great. I was just so excited to hear more of your story and understand how many connections we have. I can't wait
I
for our
know.
follow-up because we'll have a real
I
follow-up.
know. I
But
know.
there's a lot there that we can work with for sure.
I think so.
Thank you so much for coming to the podcast today and telling your story. And
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I think we're destined to team up and do something together.
I
And
think we are. That is for sure. And to all you aspiring entrepreneurs out there, this is a great story about how to focus on what you love to do and hone in on that and create a business out of it. That can lead to a life of fulfillment. I think that's a great lesson to be learned from that. So I hope that our listeners are inspired to do the same thing. So okay. Well, we will sign off for today. And I hope all you genius entrepreneurs or potential genius entrepreneurs out there are inspired to think about your genius and how you can live a life of your fulfillment. Toni, thank you again. And we will see you next time.
thank you so much, Shelby. I appreciate it. It was so much fun.
Thank you. See you next time.